Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on a Wednesday afternoon. Got Howard Bender with me. I am Dan Servodidio, as we always do on this Wednesday edition of Bettor Sports Betting. We're talking some early leans for the NFL weekend, week 13 now in the NFL season. We'll break down today. Also got some college basketball bets to give out, some NHL from our producer, Adam Bernard, some picks for tonight's slate. Going to cover a little bit of everything today. What's up, Howard?
What's going on, Servo? How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Well, we're going to get to it, but I'm going to need you to explain to me how and why the 49ers are road favorites at the Eagles this weekend. But we'll get to that game because a little, maybe my bias is coming through a little bit for that one.
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
We could talk about your Eagles here. We got to talk about.
Let's just start with that game. Why not?
I mean, we might as well, because listen, here's the thing, and why are the Eagles the underdog? Is this what your question is? The Eagles,
a 10-1 team.
They should not have beaten the Chiefs. The Chiefs beat themselves. Dropped passes, stupid mistakes like that. That cost Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs that game, and you know that is the case 100%. And then if you look, listen, man, like the Bills defense just, collapsed in the weather there and gave up, like that, Jake Elliott made this amazing field goal.
Yeah, that's a loss if he doesn't kick that.
The 49ers are, I mean, for lack of a better way to put it, the 49ers are a juggernaut. Okay, they can score in so many different ways between, Christian McCaffrey, who, just by and large, when he's healthy, he is the best running back in the NFL. Dude scores, he can catch passes, he can do it on the ground. He finds the holes. It's brilliant. Now you take a quality game manager like Brock Purdy, who has the upside of being a 300-yard passer when he needs to be, because this system just completely caters to him to just get the ball into the playmaker's hands. Feed Ayuk, feed Deebo Samuel. Here's George Kittle. Like, what more do you want? We've got a good, solid offensive line that's super healthy. I mean, listen, I'm not a Bay Area guy. I might live out here, but I am not a Bay Area fan in any way. But you have to look at this team objectively and realize that, all around on both sides of the ball, because we could talk about their defense also all day long with Chase Young and Nick Bosa, and what that pass rush does. That front seven is vicious. Yes, they could be weak in the secondary, but Hurts definitely needs to make sure that he's on. So you have to concede the fact that that the 49ers are easily the best team in the NFC right now. Then I'll give you your Eagles. Then I'll look at the Cowboys. Right? That's kind of how I see, the NFC, conference shaking out.
I am worried about the Eagles' pass defense in this game, because I just watched Josh Allen basically carve this secondary up. It's a rough. When Josh Allen can do that, I know Brock Purdy's not like this special guy, but you mentioned, I mean, with Ayuk and Deebo Samuel now healthy too, it's a tough spot for this Eagles pass defense, because they're really good against the run, but they can let up a lot of chunk yardage and easy completions to opposing passing offenses. So, and you mentioned that the 49ers are a juggernaut, because the point differential is the notable thing here, that the Eagles have kind of been squeaking by, barely pulling out some wins. Probably could have a couple more losses on that schedule, but the 49ers are just kind of pounding teams, and going to be interesting. This is a rematch of the NFC Championship game, which I think is notable, where the 49ers, Brock Purdy got hurt, and then Josh Johnson got hurt, and
everybody got hurt, right? And they wouldn't just, it was like just like Christian McCaffrey. Like Christian McCaffrey was banged up too, right? Didn't he have some weird oblique thing going on as well? which is why they wouldn't just default to using him as like the wildcat play.
Yeah. I found this interesting. Quick little stat here, because the Eagles, as 10-1, a 10-1 team, this is very rare that they are a home underdog with a 10-1 record. And shout out to John Ewing, who is works for BetMGM Sportsbook. He threw out this stat here going back to 2004. Since 2004, there have been 3 other instances where a 10-1 team or better has been a home underdog. The first 2, or the 2 most recent, we had Week 17, the Chiefs, where they rested Mahomes in that game in Week 17, and they were a home underdog with their backup in there, ended up losing to the Chargers. Week 17 in 2011, Packers also rested Rodgers in that game, had a backup quarterback. They ended up beating the Lions in that game. But then the other one was at the AFC Championship, Steelers-Patriots, where the Patriots did win that game as a road favorite and covered the spread. So, but only 3 other times, and this is the first time that's not involving, Week 17 or the playoffs. It's, still in the middle of the season here. So I found that very interesting that's the case. Not much to take away from that, because it's, 2 of those instances were backup quarterbacks, and the other one was, the Patriots in their prime in an AFC Championship game. But I just found that pretty interesting. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be I probably will not be making a pick on this, because actually I'm going to be attending this game. I'll be in person for this 49ers Eagles, traveling up to Philly on Sunday to go. And obviously, I'll be rooting for the Eagles, but maybe I'll just lay some money in the 49ers so I can be happy either way. Who knows? But doubt I will do that either way. But gonna be a fun one to watch for sure.
Yeah, I don't really have a pick on that one. What I'm curious to see is, does this end up similar to like Buffalo, Philadelphia? Is this going to be a nice high scoring affair? Between the two? But I mean, listen, if I had to lean right now, I'd be leaning 49ers and just lay the 2 points. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. If I was going to remove my fandom and bias from this, I would look at this spread and be like, okay, Vegas is telling us the 49ers are going to go in here and get the win, because there's a reason they are favored on the road here. So we'll see. All right, other Week 13 games, some notable spreads and totals out there that we just want to touch on here. I found this one interesting. The Colts-Titans, rematch from earlier in the season, divisional rival game. Colts are 1-point favorites on the road here against Tennessee. And my instant lean is also back in the road favorite here. I think there's a reason they're favored. Colts beat the Titans earlier this year when it was in Indianapolis, and they were underdogs in that one. And now it's kind of flipped. And I think they are just the complete better team. Even though they just lost Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss was fine filling in as the lead back for them. And I think Minshew gives them the quarterback advantage over Will Levis for sure, as like the feisty, veteran. Will Levis has just been shaky in recent weeks since becoming the starter. So lean Colts here. What about you?
Yeah, I guess I'd lean the Colts here as well. I mean, neither one of these teams is going to the playoffs, so one of the things that I think we kind of have to pay attention to, because I was questioning, like I was watching the Titans game against Carolina, and I was like, it's 17-10 in the second half. You've got Derrick Henry. Why are you not running him? Like, why do I keep seeing you have Will Levis throw the ball? And is it like this is a lost season, so we might as well see what he's got, kind of a thing? Because we're not building around Derrick Henry anymore, so we have to kind of move on from that. Because I mean, it was boggling my mind as to why they weren't doing it. So why they weren't running heavier with Henry. I mean, he finished with like 18 carries, but I mean, he had like 4 carries in the second half. So it wasn't really a strong effort there. So I'm not saying that they've given up. I'm just saying that, perhaps they're putting a little bit more just, lean on Will Levis to see what happens, because it is a great matchup again for Derrick Henry on the ground. against the Colts. But yeah, I'm with you there. Until Vrabel shows me that he's gonna, go back to what he wants to do. I mean, I was lucky. I picked that game and I laid the points with Tennessee because I thought he would go back to the running game, and it looked like he was in the first half. And then the second half, he was stupidly throwing it and could have given that game away. So it kind of worries me about that one there. I think for me, the big game, the game that I am in on is Panthers Bucks. Coaches who fire, teams who fire their coaches. But for the same token, what the hell's going on in Carolina? Like, you got rid of the quarterback coach, you got rid of the running back coach, you got rid of the assistant head coach, you got rid of the head coach. You promoting, this poor bastard from within. I can't remember his name. Like, I want to say it's not Stroud. Oh, Tabor, Chris Tabor. Chris Tabor is the interim coach here of the Panthers. So, I kind of worry, that like teams react in one of two ways. Either they say, well, we're going to win it for coach, or they're like, oh, see how great we are without him. Like that kind of mentality, which is what leads you to that. But damn. So, I mean, listen, as just betting blindly on just percentages, numbers wise, I'll lean Panthers with the, getting the 5.5 points, but I don't really love it all that much.
And so here are some of those percentages that I looked up here for interim coaches in their first game as the interim right after the coach is fired. Since 2010, 15-12 straight up and 16-11 against the spread since 2010. Since 2004, it's 20-16 against the spread and 17-19 straight up. But again, we mentioned this when you threw out the Raiders after they fired their coach and had Antonio Pierce as the interim in their first game. We have to look at this as a different lens. Like overall, those spreads, against the spread records and straight up records, it's like barely over 500 or about 500. But these are bad teams we're talking about, and the Panthers specifically have not been covering spreads all season long. I think they're with Reich. They're 1-10 this year against the spread. So you just have to look at that in a different light. That they're performing a lot better than they have been all season. These teams that fire their coaches. So it's just that like above 50% clip that they're covering spreads or winning games is just notably more than was 25 to 30% that they actually did beforehand. So I'm with you blindly, just taking the Panthers in their first game, firing their coach. But also, it's a Bucs team that's not like this isn't like at this point. If it was any other team besides the Panthers, it'd be like they should not be over a field goal favorite. So they could win by a field goal and maybe win this game outright, but covering that 5.5, you're basically banking on them to win by at least a touchdown. So it's tough.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but you got to do it, man. Right? I mean, listen, it's still, the percentages are in our favor. So
I liked back in the Raiders earlier this year with Antonio Pierce because, former player, he's going to have all the players are all going to rally around him. They hated McDaniels at that point. So, but this one's like kind of in the middle, weird. I don't know which way it's going to go. And it's also, it's a rookie quarterback in Bryce Young on the road. So that's another part of it.
I'm with you. I'm with you,
right.
dog.
How about Lions Saints? Lions losing outright to the Packers on Thanksgiving. They're going to try to bounce back here. 4-point favorites on the road against the New Orleans Saints. 46 is the over-under. I'm leaning Lions here. On the road this year, they're 4-1, both straight up and against the spread. Saints 0-4 against the spread at home this year, just 2-2 straight up. And I saw the Saints kind of throw that game last week. They had a good chance to beat the Falcons, take a hold of the division, and they just kind of gave it away, in my opinion. I don't trust Derek Carr and this team right now. And I think the Lions are primed for a bounce back here after losing to the Packers. I think they get back on track. So I probably lean to find laying those 4 points to win comfortably here on the road.
Yeah, everybody loves back in America's new team, right? This like the Lions are like everybody's darling right now. So,
It's hard to quit them.
it is hard to quit them, but yeah, man, I think that, I don't know. I have to mull it over a little bit because I think that after that loss on Thanksgiving, I think everybody expects them to come out and really kind of, throttle what's going on. I mean, we got to watch the injuries also for the Saints. Olave's still in concussion protocol. Rashid Shaheed is questionable with a quad injury. Michael Thomas is already on the IR.
Yeah.
Defensively, Marshawn Lattimore is on IR as well. So, they've got a bunch of issues. And, again, there it is. It's like, everybody loves the Lions and they're going to bounce back and they're going to do it this week and reestablish themselves. And the Saints are all just a tattered mess right now. And then the Saints cover the 4-point spread. So I have no lean for this one. This one is the jury is still out.
Okay. We'll see you on Friday if you
see
have
you
a
on
pick
Friday, Servo.
How about Cardinals Steelers? Have the Steelers figured things out offensively now with Matt Canada gone? They eclipsed 400 total yards last week, which was the first time they've done that since Matt Canada has been the OC there. It's been a while, but they finally did it last week. Still only scored 16 points though, which I think is notable. But this 5.5 spread, at home against the Cardinals, I think is given a little too much credit for people thinking that the Steelers are completely fixed. I know the Cardinals, they're not a good team, obviously, but I do think Kyler can keep this close, make it interesting. I'd be very hesitant to lay the 5.5 with the Steelers here. Over under at 41. I'm not sure what to do with this game because the Steelers games have always, pretty much, I think it's like 6 of the last 7 or something have gone under. They continually play in these low scoring games because of that offense. But if they kind of figured some things out, who knows? What about you on this one?
So again, another game that I'm really kind of torn on because you would think, it's Kyler Murray, right? And Kyler Murray coming in there is going to help keep that game close. Their defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
And so I expect the Steelers to, like that's the thing. Like everybody's kind of now in on the Steelers with 400 yards and, whatever. But it was 16 points. It's against the Bengals who, let's face it, they're a defeated team right now, not having, Joe Burrow as their quarterback.
Yeah.
So, I didn't think it was that impressive of a win. And if you're going to put up 400 yards, dude, 16 points, that's all you put up was 16 points. So, I like what I see here. I like the fact that you're focusing on getting Kenny Pickett to be a short yardage, high percentage pass guy who gets like a 70% completion rate because, of the style there. That'll open things up. So I do like the Steelers here. I'm not sure how I like this spread because I do think that Kyler Murray can turn on. But then again, Kyler Murray can also, stink on ice. We've seen him do that also where, he's not all that right. And I want to see what the weather's like. How cold is it going to be? There's a lot going through with this one here. This is going to be a game I'll bet you I end up playing like a lot of props.
Okay.
A lot of props.
Some Freiermuth props maybe because
I mean, listen, man, if you're going to make that guy a focal point of the passing offense finally, right? Him and Deontay Johnson, in this style, both of them, their receptions props, you want to get in on it now before, the books start to correct themselves. So, like Freiermuth will have a higher than usual receptions prop, but Deontay Johnson will probably be right about the same as where he usually is. And if that's the case, yeah, I'm going to want to look at the over on that.
Maybe a little forecasting to Friday's show. Might have a prop from the Steelers in there.
I don't know.
All right. How about Sunday night football? We got Chiefs Packers. Chiefs are 6.5 point favorites on the road here. 42 is the over under. I lean Packers here as the home underdogs. I think this is a weird little sandwich, spot for the Chiefs. They just had had to come from behind and beat the Raiders last week. And next week they're playing the Bills, which we know Chiefs Bills has always been one of those, AFC, high level rivalries. I think this is a weird spot to go on the road at Lambeau, where it's probably going to be very cold, very frigid. Probably, the 42 over-under is obviously telling us it's going to be a lower scoring game. But the Packers, too, coming in on extra rest from playing on Thanksgiving, playing on Thursday, and getting, trying to ride that momentum from beating the Lions, a very good team, and riding that in here. I think they could make this interesting and cover the spread. That's my instant lean.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Aaron Jones is good to go, I think that's going to be a linchpin right there. If Aaron Jones is good to go, you can run on the Chiefs. Chiefs have like the 20th ranked DVOA against the run. So I think that it's doable here. If you just lean strictly on the passing, it could be problematic. L'Jarius Sneed is a fantastic cover guy. And the way Spagnuolo sets up that defense for the Chiefs, solid coverage schemes, very solid coverage schemes. So Packers have to run the football. So I'll agree with you if Packers covering the spread if Aaron Jones is good to go with no limitations. That's what I want to say.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I got a game though that I wanna throw your way here because I'm curious as to your thoughts on this because I know that you dive into. I love the way you dive into like all of like the against the spread data and stuff like that. Here we go. The Houston Texans. All right, I think they're only like 2-4 against the spread at home, but this is their third straight home game. Now, you look at, there are different trends, like teams who are on the road. And you'll see this every so often in the schedule. You'll see a team on the road for 3 straight weeks, right? And you're like, oh, shit, what's that? That third week that they've been on the road, they are always going to lose. You always take the opposite team to cover the spread, the points, whatever, that third game on the road. I haven't been able to find the data for 3 home games in a row, but I will say that I think they are 1-1 right now in these last 2 games. So I'm wondering, am I leaning on the Texans here in this game because they're on they're home for the third straight week. Meanwhile, Denver, everybody loves Denver, right? 5-0 over their last 5 games. This team is a team of destiny now. They're headed to the playoffs. They're looking fantastic. Sean Payton has turned this whole Denver team around, hasn't he? Well, yeah, now he's going to go in and he's going to take on the Houston Texans, who have been literally at home sleeping in their own beds for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, they haven't, and that's around the Thanksgiving holiday. They've been the cushy life. So I'm not saying that they're too comfortable, but I'm saying they're good to go. They are this is a game that I think that you have to look at the Texans. I think it's a 2-point game. I want to take the Texans. I'll take the Texans on the money line for this one as well.
Well, so the spread is interesting. I'm looking BetMGM Sportsbook. We got 3.5 is the spread for the Texans.
Laying 3.5. I'm laying
minus 190 on the money line. I do find that interesting because of how hot the Broncos have been. I think it's a 5-game win streak. I think coming in. Yeah, 5-game win streak. They look back. Have they turned the corner? Peyton and Russ, and the Texans. Yeah, I think they could bounce back here. Diving into, you mentioned against the spread numbers, just looking quickly here at both teams against the spread. The Texans in their past have failed to cover as favorites in their past 4 games this season. When they've been favored, they have not covered spreads. When underdogs, they have. They're playing well as the underdog role and, coming out, being overlooked a little bit by teams, playing teams close, maybe pulling out upsets straight up. But as favorites, they have not been covering spreads. On the other side, the Broncos this year, they have been off and on as, favored against the spread. but they've covered 2 straight as underdogs. And that has been in this win streak where they've won outright against the Chiefs and the Bills as underdogs in those games. So it's interesting. I might have to look at this closer before Friday's show.
Please. I'm gonna take the Texans. I'm gonna take the team that's been chilling out at home, living the good life, right? Like, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I'm sitting at home, man. I'm chilling. I'm prepping for the rest of the, I'm gonna hang out down in the soup kitchen. I'm gonna serve up some meals and do some charitable work, and and then I'm gonna eat a big fat freaking meal that they're gonna serve me for Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna be like sitting and chilling. Oh, and then you know what? Then I'm gonna be prepping for the following week where I'm still at home. Still like, put my feet up in the slippers on the Barca lounger. I'm telling you.
The spread there, by the way, it does lean me towards Houston just because it is at 3.5 now.
Sure it does. Sure it does. You want to take Denver. I know you want to take Denver. It's okay.
I don't know, maybe.
It's all right. It's all right. Everybody keeps thinking about how Matt Amendola missed that kick for the Texans against the Jags, right? And then lost his job the next day. So there's unrest in Houston right now. All right, listen, I've got a show to prepare for soon, so I got to get my action in right now, Servo. I need some college hoops bets in my life. I used Pete Cole's DFS playbook the other day and cashed on that. You guys are killing it for Fantasy Alarm betting and DFS for college basketball. I need some college picks. Serve it up. Who you got for me?
All right, we got the SEC ACC challenge going on in college hoops. Happened last night. Had some awesome games. Happening again tonight. And the first game I'll throw out here, Florida Wake Forest. We got Florida on the road at Wake Forest here. 5.5 is the spread, and I'm taking Florida as the road favorites here because they have been a lot more proven to me this year than Wake. Florida's 2 losses this year have been close ones on neutral courts to Virginia and Baylor, which are 2 very good teams. And it was both games where they really could have won either one of those, but they ended up being close losses. But their other 2 non-conference matchups so far this year, they handled Florida State and handled Pitt, won comfortably in both. And that gives me more confidence that they can do the same thing to Wake Forest, who's more on par with Pitt and Florida State, all ACC schools, but they're all just a lower tier than what Florida dealt with in Virginia and Baylor, where they almost, beat both of them. Wake Forest this year, though, they've played 3 power conference teams, lost each one of those, so they have yet to kind of get over that hump. And this is a team that lost their best player from last year. Tyree Appleby was a high usage, point guard, was the leading scorer, leading playmaker, and I still think they're trying to figure out how to replace him. They have some guys. They do have a really good roster, but they still haven't gotten over that hump when it's come against tougher competition of like who's the guy late, who's the guy throughout the whole game to kind of lead the team. They have some good transfers, some good holdovers from last year, but still haven't proven it yet to me. And the big thing for this matchup is that Florida, according to Ken Palm's ratings, they have the 17th best offensive efficiency this year. One of the top power conference offenses in the country, compared to Wake, who has the 152nd defense. They have struggled defensively this year. I think that's going to be the difference to help Florida pull away in this one and cover the spread as road favorites.
Okay. All right. I could dig that. I could definitely dig that. What about who do we start talking? Well, what's up with UNC this year, right? I mean, we talk Duke and UNC all the time. I see UNC is actually playing Tennessee. They're favored 2.5. Do they deserve to be favored here?
I actually think this is the wrong team favorite situation, and I'm going Tennessee. I could be wrong on this, but I think Tennessee is a step above North Carolina right now and this year. The Vols come in motivated, in my opinion, because they just lost 2 tough games on neutral courts last week against Purdue and Kansas, which are 2 of the top 5 teams in the country. And Tennessee, lost both of those. I feel like they're going to really want to get a nice non-con win on their resume now here on the road at North Carolina. It would look great. And this is still Tennessee has the number 1 defense in college basketball. This is a team that plays with physicality. They have really good defensive guards, which I think is tough for North Carolina in this matchup. They're physical down low, which is tough for North Carolina, who has to lean on their center, Armando Bacot, a lot. I think the Vols, who, I mentioned, they just lost to Purdue and Kansas, but they've also had a week off to prepare here for North Carolina. And I think they're going to have a good defensive game plan going into this one to slow down Bacot, slow down RJ Davis, who's North Carolina's other top guy, and force, the Tar Heels' other secondary guys to step up, which we haven't totally seen yet this year. They're not as battle-tested as Tennessee, in my opinion. They lost to Villanova in overtime this year and then beat a shaky Arkansas team that's really going a little downhill, in my opinion, right now. And those caliber teams are just not on par with what Tennessee just dealt with in Purdue and Kansas. So I worry about North Carolina matching the physicality of Tennessee in this spot. Vols have a veteran roster, experience in the guards, really good defensive guards, as I mentioned, and they're not going to shy away from this road non-conference matchup. So I do think Tennessee can go in here. I'd look at their money line too, but give me the 2.5 points there if we're talking spread.
All right, I like it. Tennessee plus 2.5 against UNC. You mentioned Villanova. Now, I was walking past your office earlier this morning, and I heard you talking to Pete Cole about the Nova game tonight. They're favored by 12.5 over St. Joseph's, but you're leaning St. Joe's, right?
I'm leaning St. Joe's here. So this is a Big Five rivalry matchup. We got the Big Five Philly schools that always play each other every season. And Villanova, obviously, the top end of those schools, we got Temple, LaSalle, Penn. Villanova is always at the top, but they always get the best. This is like basically one of the Super Bowls for St. Joe's here. They're coming in here trying to pull off the upset. We just saw earlier this year, Villanova lost to Penn in one of these Big Five rivalry matchups. So they have, and over the years, Villanova has, kind of, whether rightfully or wrongfully, looked a little worse than what we usually see from them in these rivalry spots where it's against another Philly Big Five school. And this is a weird sandwich spot for me for Villanova because they just played and won a few of these games, but played Maryland, Texas Tech, North Carolina, and Memphis in their past 4 games, all, above, power conference teams. But now they're playing St. Joe's in this random game here on a Wednesday. And then this weekend and next week, they play Kansas State and UCLA. Other very tough matchups. I could see them looking past St. Joe's a little bit here. St. Joe's is 1-0 against the spread as underdogs so far this year. That was against Kentucky, where they pushed Kentucky to overtime, almost pull off the upset. A couple games ago on the road, ended up losing in overtime, but they pushed the Wildcats there. St. Joe's a team, we're talking X's and O's. We're getting away from all the other angles of this. St. Joe's is a team that shoots a ton of 3-pointers. They have the 3rd most 3-point attempts per game this year in college basketball. That is kind of a recipe to attack Villanova, who's their defense allows for a ton of perimeter scoring. It allows for a lot of 3-point shots. They're strong inside, but they allow a lot of teams to shoot at will from deep. So if St. Joe's can make those threes, then this is going to be closer than this spread indicates. So I'm taking St. Joseph's plus 12.5 here.
You had me at sandwich game. I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely not going to lie. Did I hear that you bet Impemba lunch at the sandwich shop downstairs on the Texas A&M game?
I wish. If he wants to bet me on this, I'm taking the under in Texas A&M, Virginia. This is going to be a grinded out defensive battle. The under's the total's at 124.5, which is very low for a college basketball game, but this is how Virginia's games go. They play slow on offense. They use up all the shot clock just trying to find their perfect shot, your most efficient shots. That's just how they play on offense. And their defense, they have an elite level defense, have been for years, and it's just how they operate to force other teams to play at their slow play pace, use up a lot of the shot clock, force turnovers. Don't give up rare uncontested shots. That they are very good defensively with that pack line defensive scheme that they use. And I think they're going to force Texas A&M into a lot of poor possessions offensively. Virginia games have now gone under in 4 straight, and each of the last 3 totals have been in the 120s. So I'm not scared of this low 124.5 total. I'm still taking the under in this one. Going to be a really good game to watch. Tight spread. Going to be an awesome, not a ton of scoring, hopefully for my part, but going to be a good one to watch.
So, Impemba's not going to bet lunch on that? That's messed up, dude. That's messed up. All right, so Florida -5.5, Tennessee +2.5. These are Servo's picks, everybody. St. Joseph's +12.5, and the under on the Texas A&M Virginia game. I like that a lot. I'm definitely going to want to lock those in for sure. For sure.
That's where I'm going. And yeah, I got the tonight I have the college basketball DFS playbook up on Fantasy Alarm. So go check that out. All these games, minus the Villanova one though, but most of these games are covered in tonight's slate, DraftKings, FanDuel, wherever you want to play. So check that out. Fantasy Alarm All Pro subscription if you haven't gotten on that already. Ton of content coming out for NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football this weekend. We got conference championship weekend in college football. So going to be some great content, obviously NFL and fantasy football, all that stuff. So All Pro subscription, get on it now if you haven't already. All right. How about some NHL? Let's wrap up today's show with some hockey picks. Adam gave out some picks last night. He's back here again. Our producer, Adam Bernard. What's up, man? What's
well, dude, you're back in your home office. You were supposed to be in the conference room.
I didn't see the email that today was a report to work day, so I just
dude, I had tech set everything up in the conference room for you.
But I'm the tech guy, so how did that happen?
Well, shit, who did I email then?
Good counter. That's a good counter.
Damn.
Who are we letting in the building, Howard?
I don't know, man. You're the one. Listen, you're on like your 4th key card pass, so don't even talk to me about who we're letting in on the building.
Listen, if we actually did have a building to go in, I probably would be on my 3rd or 4th key card by now. So that's a valid complaint.
Don't break that 4th wall. What are you doing? What are you doing?
All right, Adam. Small hockey slate tonight, but I know you got a couple
small
picks for
slates there, Adam.
3
I'm
games
sorry, it's John and Pemba here.
We got what's that again?
I said it's John and Pemba here, apparently.
But we got a 3-game slate. We're not going to touch that Montreal-Columbus game for various reasons. The lead game on the TNT tonight is the Rangers hosting the Detroit Red Wings. They had a 3-game winning streak snapped by the Sabres. They're looking to bounce back against a Wings team that's won 3 in a row. Patrick Kane has signed with the Wings, but we're not going to see him for probably a week or 2. They're also going to be without Dylan Larkin tonight, who is the straw that stirs the drink for that team. Doesn't help that they're going to be without their top center against the Rangers team that's pretty deep down the middle. So I think the Rangers win easily tonight, and they cover the puck line here. So I like the Rangers -1.5, +120 on BetMGM. Now, if you want something a little safer in this game, the Blue Shirts only have 2 regulation losses in their last 5 weeks. So -125 on BetMGM if you want to just take them in regulation to win.
Nah, I like the puck line. Puck line's emphatic.
If they had Dylan Larkin, the Wings are playing better hockey. They're coming off a big win over Boston. Maybe a little different, but for them to be without Larkin, that's asking a lot. And I think the Rangers bounce back here because they had a nice little winning streak going before their loss against Buffalo. So I like the Blue Shirts at home.
Well, yeah, in the puck line, you can get an empty net goal, right, in the late if they're already winning. So
baby.
The empty net goal at the end of a hockey game when you bet the puck line, like as long as they have that 1-goal lead, you have a chance till the end. I don't like betting plus a puck and a half because I would hate to lose a bet based on a goal going the other way. But nonetheless, minus puck and a half if you think there's a distinct disadvantage, which tonight I think there is always a good way to go.
That's fair. You got a pick for the Kings as well, right?
Yeah, a pair of puck lines tonight. So I love them. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They've won all those games by 3 or more goals. Only 2 of their 13 victories this season have been by a single goal, playing some of the best hockey in the NHL. Washington's on a 2-game losing streak, fresh off a loss to the San Jose Sharks, one of the worst teams in the league. They're 31st in league offense. Some might say there's a little trap game potential here with the Avalanche coming to town to play the Kings next. That game's not for 4 days. Nobody's looking that far ahead here. So I think this is a game that the Kings could easily cover as well. Cam Talbot well rested as well between the pipes. So couple of puck lines tonight plus money there.
All right. Some
All right.
hockey picks from our producer, Aaron Bernard. Love it.
Servo, let me ask you here. It's minus 110 either way. Is there, and in fact, a lump of coal in that stocking over behind Adam Bernard right now because Santa hates him?
I do love that little addition of the stocking in the background.
Very holiday festiveness.
It's holiday season.
Got a little penguin right here. You know, that's up there. You can't really see it. But
Is a penguin native to Christmas though? I don't think so. But the stocking definitely is.
I mean, it's wintry. It's got a scarf on. It's got the hat. I mean, it's not necessarily Christmassy, but it's not Christmassy.
Is the tree up in your house right now?
Yes, my wife put it up the day after. So in my house, the wife handles the inside decorations. I handle the outside decorations. We don't interfere and we don't fight, and it works well. I will be doing outside decorations this weekend.
Are you doing like inflatable lawn creation so that it sounds like a 24-hour-a-day leaf blower to your neighbors?
No. I don't have something that's going to create sound like that because that is annoying. But yes, I mean, my daughter is now 4, so I got to start. Like, I always had a decent outside game, but I got to start stepping it up a little bit.
All right, listen, I love that, man.
to you.
I live close enough by that my wife and I, if I say to her, I'm like, hon, we're gonna go look at some really pretty Christmas decorations, she's gonna be like, I will drive wherever you want to go to see beautiful Christmas decorations. She's a total sucker for that.
Diker Heights in Brooklyn. That's where you go if you want really good
Diker Heights in Brooklyn. Look at you going old school, baby.
I mean, it's still the display. I mean, I used to live 10 minutes from there, so.
Oh, so good.
That's a far drive for Howard and his wife this weekend.
In the car now, when they didn't stop, it's like 39 hours. So, I mean, you could be there in almost 2 days.
I can do
All
it.
Right. That's about it from us for today's show. Thank you, Adam, for jumping in there with some hockey bets. If you missed any of today's show, definitely go back and watch. We broke down all of some interesting leans and lines for Week 13 and some college basketball and hockey picks. We'll be back tomorrow on Bettor Sports Betting, 4 p.m. Eastern. Thursday night football picks. Going to give out some college football picks as well. So definitely tune into that. Me and James Grande. Coming up after us tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy on YouTube's. We got NBA DFS Live with John and Pemba and James Grande. And then 9 p.m. Eastern is the Dynasty Nerds with Garrett Price. So we'll see you guys tomorrow on Bettor Sports Betting. Appreciate everyone tuning in here on Wednesday. And good luck with all your bets this weekend and tonight. And take care.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports